Good evening. Um, thank you all for being here tonight, and welcome to the Abenaki this episode of the Abenaki Speaker Series. My name is Richard Whitting. I'm a historian and advocate in Vermont, and I help organize the series as one of a number of non-native allies working in support of and in partnership with citizens of Odanak and W8linak First Nations. Um, I want to begin by acknowledging that these talks are a gathering space dedicated to listening to Abenaki people speak for themselves about their history, their communities, their homelands, and their continuing presence. So special welcome to any Abenaki family members here tonight. And please consider this your space and feel free to chime in and let us know if there's anything you need. This series exists because in Vermont especially, there's been a great deal of misleading information said about Abenaki history and identity, and little direct inclusion of the actual Abenaki communities whose historical, political, and family continuity is well documented as the first people of this place. That is the Abenaki First Nations of Odanak and W8linak, who together comprise the Abenaki or Wabanaki Nation. I've been especially looking forward to tonight's talk. Over the past 5 years, I've gotten to know quite a few people from Odanak and have learned a good amount about Odanak's history. But too often I do find myself writing Odanak and W8linak without knowing much about the and W8linak part. So I'm very grateful for the chance to learn more tonight. So tonight we are fortunate to be joined with Yves Landry of W8linak First Nation. Yves was born in Trois-Rivières in Quebec, and since birth has spent many of his summers on the shores of Wolanactegu, the Bicancourt River, on which runs through or next to W8linak First Nations Reserve. His studies include English, literature, mechanics, Japanese language study in Tokyo, and administration at the Université du Québec en Trois-Rivières. His work experience has included teaching French in Japan, working as a mechanical technician in the pulp and paper industry, and doing on-the-job coaching in the field. He is now retired. Yves has also been deeply involved in the Wabanaki Nation, and he served as the first CEO of the Grand Council of the Wabanaki. Worked for 25 years as electoral officer for Odanak elections, served on multiple committees, and worked as a guardian of the Endakina for Wabanaki, and has spoken at many conferences about Endakina, the Abenaki territory, and preservation. He's also been active in judo as a competitor, teacher, coach, and judge, and has a long-standing interest in nature photography as well. Tonight, Yves, hello Yves, will help us understand W8linak not only as a name, but as a distinct Abenaki community with its own place, history, families, and present-day life. He will speak about W8linak, meaning at the bay, and the river that runs through it. And about the community's history, historic land base, including the severe losses of territory over time, families, leadership, and movement through the 19th and 20th century, and work today at W8linak, including membership institutions, economic life, and ongoing cultural practices. So in a moment, turn it over to Yves for his presentation. I did also want to say we're also joined tonight by Zach Bennett of Norwich University, who will, after the presentation, help guide the discussion and conversation with Yves. Zach is an environmental historian of North American and Atlantic history, and he'll give a better introduction there later. So feel free to put any questions in the chat as we go. And after the presentation, we will do our best to answer any questions you put there or open it up for discussion depending on time. So most of all, thank you, Yves, for sharing this time with us and your knowledge tonight. And thanks, Zach, as well, later. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Yves.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor. You will quickly understand that I'm not. My English is not the language I've learned when I was a kid. So I may sometime be looking for words, but I'll try to do my best. Yeah, I'm Yves Landry. I'm a status member of the federally recognized status member of the W8linak Abenaki band. Uh, my family is from the Metzola Barlet family, who's been in W8linak I don't know, I couldn't say since from the beginning, but for at least 2 centuries present in W8linak and around. Uh, as you've mentioned, I was not born on the reservation. I was born in Trois-Rivières. There are many reasons and I will try to explain it later, why there's not much people that were living on the reserve in the 50s when I was born. I'm a father of two. I'm still not grandfather, but I don't know. Anyway, and yes, I have prepared a PDF if you allow me to share it, and I'll try to explain where W8linak is located because there's I think that you most of you people know a lot about Oranak. Many things has been said, studied, and everything, and especially your concern in Vermont is in regard of those pretension that says that they are Abenaki without being and but W8linak is not well known even around W8linak too, for the people who lives around. Our neighbors don't know us much. So if you and or I want also mention that I'm not an historian, I'm not a genealogist. I'm just a guy who is interested in where Abenaki of W8linak are from, and where we came and what happened during this journey, and how it turned out that we are here, and because of many historical reasons. I'll go here if you don't mind. So I guess everybody is seeing this.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. So, well, I'll try to make it full screen. I was a mechanician. I was not an. How can I put it full screen? I did it.
You did it before, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you have to stay in this form, we can definitely still
Yeah.
see pretty well.
Plein écran. I saw it. Yeah. Plein écran. Here. So yes, you
There you
see.
go.
So well, it's a quite long. I maybe I did too much for a few minutes for the time we have. So anyway, I'll try to explain as best as I can, and and feel free to ask question if you want. So W8linak is so where is W8linak located? Okay, first of all, as you mentioned, W8linak means at the bay. If you go in some books and even sometime on website, you'll see W8linak means the river of many detour contours. It goes like this. But it's a description of the river of the Bécancour River there. You see where it points. It's not the signification. W8linak means at the bay, and the bay is this one there that is located on the shore of the St. Lawrence River. So we have here the St. Lawrence River in this direction going northeast. You'll be going to Quebec City, and if you go southwest, you'll go to Montreal City, and here is the city of Trois-Rivières, Three Rivers. It's right in the middle of Montreal and Quebec, mostly in the middle of Quebec and Montreal. And why? I'm going to go to the next one. Next one. So this is the bay that the reason why Wolinak was named. This is because of this bay here that you see. Wolina is a bay, and the K at the end means there. It's a location. So at the bay. So if you go upstream, you go downstream, you're going to Quebec. And just to a small part of history, the Abenaki first were came in first contact came with the French that came from France, and they went what's his New England right now. They also went to Acadia and things like that, and they went up the St. Lawrence River. And so the first contact with the French, the missionary at that time, their goal was to Christianize as much people that they would. So the more Christianized, the more Christian that would make it, the well, they would then win the sky, for them. So they would go in heaven. So many Abenaki then became Catholics, and so naturally they became allied with the French. And when the French and the English started the war in Europe, then it was the same. It moved here in the Turtle Land. So that's why they first became allied with the French. And after that, when the war started in New England and everything, the Abenaki became big enemies of the English, and so they moved their family um, on the north in the northern parts of their territory. So they came first, gathered first near Quebec City, where the government was, and after that, after a while, at the end of the 17th century, the governor of Trois-Rivières asked for protection. So, at his request, the Abenaki moved up the St. Lawrence River, and they first established there at W8linak on this island at Montesson Island. So that's the first place where they were located. As for the Odanak people, so they also went up the St. Lawrence River to what is today Odanak, which is about a day and a half of paddling in canoe. So so the reason it's called Wolinak, so when you come from Quebec City paddling, it's the first bay that you met that as that size. So that's why it was called Wolinak. It was located at this moment. And it was the first establishment of the Abenaki of Wolinak was on the Ile Montesson, what is called today Ile Montesson. It was the how do you call the Lord of Bécancour, who let who asked the Abenaki to install there and protect the city of Trois-Rivières at that time. So it was the first location, and after a while, when the Lord of Bécancour died, passed away, his widow Uh, and I must say that this land, all these lands that are there, are very rich for farming. So the widow said, "You have to move," said to the Abenaki, "and you have to move upstream." So after that, they move upstream a little bit on the west shore of the Becancour River, Willinactigo, and then first place they went was at today what today is called Île Sauvage, and the Savage Island is still named at that thing. But the thing is, in springtime, this place flowed every spring when the ice melt and everything makes a big ice jam and everything. So the place was not the best one to be. So they moved the second time on land on another island, which is about here. Um, so that's the I think that would be the three location that are here that happened during since the establishment of the Abenaki of the Abenaki of W8linak. Um, in 1708, the Lord of Bécancour at that time, uh, under the French, it was still under the French administration. They uh, they gave whoop, they gave to the Abenaki a territory that would be called the Mission of Bécancour. So they had this land here for them to for themselves, so they could live there hunting, fishing, and everything, and also at the same time be available to go to war or protect against the either the English or the Mohawk Kanyankehaka, who were allies with the English. And this became the mission of Becancour, and it lasted. It lasted. It didn't last long. In fact, at the beginning of the 19th century, what it was at its creation, as I said, is 19,700 acres. And today it's only 100, almost it's 200 acres that is left today of what it was at this time. So it didn't take it didn't take much. It didn't take long that the settlers who came around from everywhere, and then they settled all over the place. And at when the French lost the war against the English in 1760, around that. So they had to give the lands that they own in North America, and the English started to deport the Acadian that were around Weebo, what is today Nova Scotia, and all these places. And these Acadians, many of them moved to what is today Louisiana in United States. Many of them are there. You can still see a French name there, and some of them escaped from this deportation, and uh, they were brought by the Malicite and Abenaki guides here over to Quebec and to Trois-Rivières. And when they arrive, they asked to the Abenaki of Bécancour that time, if they could settle along this lake here, on the shore of this lake here called Lac Saint-Paul, Saint-Paul Lake. So in 1763 or so, they established themselves just along. So that was the first, I'd say, the first introduction of settlers on what was the mission of Bécancour. That was and after that it increased. So this is what it looks like. And this is a aerial view of what is today the territory. Okay, so we have here W8linak, is really really a small part. You have, whoops, excuse me. We have what is Lac Saint-Paul, Saint-Paul Lake, and you have the St. Lawrence River here, and all of these farming lands that you see belongs to this to the descendants of the Acadians. Yeah, and there's a village here called Saint Grégoire. It's all of these people there are descendants of the Acadian. They have every year Acadian gathering and everything. It's considered an Acadian village. So they established themselves there, and there was a condition when they asked to Abenaki. They said they're going to be there, and after that they're going to go back to their lands when all the wars and everything will settle. But they never returned, so they're still there today. So that's one of how they started to the Abenaki started to lose their lands. In it's jump in time in 1844. This is kind of a plan that is. This is uh, an extract from the Department of Lands, Quebec Department of Lands, and this concession here, this was the what was the actual. This is the actual this part of lands here. This is the actual reserve. What is left actually? There's a l'île des Sauvages, the island of the Savage, that is still part of the reservation right now. And this small, what is used to be a small island now, is here on this plan. It's written Lil Makwa. It means beaver. This island is still a part of what is today Odanai. Uh, when they were moved from Montesson Island, first place they came is L'Île Sauvage. They settled there for a while, but as I said, it's floated every spring. So they moved there, and also there it's floated almost every spring. I'm gonna just, if you'll allow me, just show you a picture to understand what it's like. What it's like in springtime. Uh, to see. Uh, so this is this spring. This is this spring, last spring, this spring in this year. So this is a reserve actually. This is the size of the reservation actually. So this is the W8linak, the Bécancour River, and you see what is there. Usually it's a road here.
Real
So
quick,
it's a
Yves,
road.
I don't see the picture having changed. Did you go to a different picture, or I still see the 1894? Is everyone else seeing that?
Oh, why don't you see these pictures? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I was gonna spare also. excuse me.
No,
I'll
no, no problem. Take your time.
I'll go back to my. You see it now? You don't see it, eh?
No.
Okay.
Maybe stop sharing your screen and restart.
Okay. If I say stop and share again. Okay. You see it? I think you see it right now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Great.
Good.
So what you're seeing right now, this is the this is a picture I took this spring in March. This is a reservation actually,
Okay.
and this what you see here is a consequence of the ice break. There's an ice jam down the river, and you see everything flows here. Everything flows, and the river just go there and goes to Lac Saint Paul that is there. So the road is cut, for about a week or two, depending on each spring.
Mhm.
I'll go to this one again. Excuse me. I'm not.
You're
as
doing great. You're doing great. No worries.
as you see, I'm not a specialist. Okay. And I'll show you this one. You see this one too? You see,
Hasn't come up yet.
okay, I'm gonna go against stop. How can I move it? Okay, I've lost control of it. Excuse me, just a moment. What
Good.
do you see on the screen?
No shared screen right now.
Okay, I'm sorry. How can I share? I think I've got. I don't see where I could stop. I don't see where I can stop sharing it.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay. No problem. See if.
Okay. Partager, share. So
Oh,
you see,
hey, I see your. Yep, we see your.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
we see your desktop.
I'll try to find it. You following me? Still
Mhm.
following me?
Yep,
You see a picture?
I do. Yeah, River. Yep.
Okay, okay. So this picture is taken from the north, and this is L'Île Sauvage, Savage
Hmm.
Island, okay? So this is the second place, second location where the Abenaki were moved.
Hmm.
After that, they moved here. But as you see, everything is floated. This is ice. Everything here is ice, and the river is floating here. So after that, after I don't know how long they stay there, but after that they move where we are now located. So that's the reason that there were two location, three location. Why am I? Why did it stop there? What do you see?
Well, it looks like it's loading.
It's loading.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm really sorry for this.
no problem. Yeah, it just says double click to enter full screen mode.
Okay,
but it doesn't. I'm not seeing a picture.
Okay, okay.
There we go.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So this is why the we moved where we are located now. This is another view, aerial view of the reserve today. Um, what time is it now? I still have more time. So I have important moments that I've put here. Uh, so as I mentioned, 1708, land grant to the Wambanakiak by the Lord of Bécancour on Montesson Island. Uh, 1729, relocation of the St. Francis Xavier Mission to Île aux Sauvages following the death of Lord Bécancour. 1735, St. Francis Xavier Mission. That's how it was called at that time. Was permanently established on the present site of W8linak, where a palisaded village was built. A church was constructed there, which also served the neighboring settlers of Bécancour. Yeah, this is one thing too. Um During that time, the farmers and everything, settlers. This is before the arrival of the Acadian. So they started to settle around the Bécancour River, and there were no church for them. So they would come to the church that was on the mission. December 1757, the Mission Church and all the records were burned by the French settlers, angry because the intendants of New France, François Bigot, ceded the land to the Wabanaki. So that happened, and many records were burned at that time. So that's why uh, many of the names, family names, census, and all these things that were in the church disappeared forever. There are some of these information that are records what today's Indian Affairs still have, but not much as they were before. Has every birth, every baptism, marriage, wedding was recorded as requested by the Catholic Church. This way. 1764. So that's the land grant at Lake St. Paul to the Acadian. This is the year it happened. And from 1764 to 1856, that's the usurpation of the lands of the Abenaki mission of Bécancour by the Lord of Bécancour and De Bruyère fief. I have to explain this. So the law system kept on going even after the English. Some of them, some of them were English, and some of other was that. And one that did a lot of damage was Ezekiel Hart. He was he was a businessman, trader, and everything in Trois-Rivières and Three Rivers. And there's not a statue, but there's a commemoration in Trois-Rivières about him. He have his streets and everything. He has done a lot to develop Trois-Rivières, but he has also done a lot to make the Abenaki poorer and take their belongings in some way. And all of the lands, all the mission, everything has disappeared during this period until what is left now. 1803, 1806 petition filed for the granting of land in the township of Wendover and Durham. So the Abenaki at this time um, uh, asked to the Indian Affair at that time, the agent of Indian Affair at that time, to have new lands that were south of on the upstream of the Becancour River, and to be so they could move there. Um, Nothing happened to these petitions. 1807, 1809, American settler in Ireland County observed Wabanaki encampment at Trout Lake. Trade place trade takes place between the settlers and the Wabanaki Maple Grove. There is a book that was written that's the Abenaki Trail. It's when the English men started to map all the lands in Lower Canada. They went up the river, guided by Abenaki guides, uh, uh, and there were uh, uh, encampments along the river at many places. And then after that, they have established uh, either Irish people who has fought for the English and everything, and people who were from the United States, what was New England and everything. They established themselves along the Becancour River, and that's where they met many Abenaki that were on the shore of the Becancour River. 1812, usurpation of part of Wabanakiak land by the Acadian of Becancour while the Wabanakiak warrior defend the border of Lower Canada part of the war of 1812. Um, this is also a big part, a moment where a lot of lands were lost. 1829, Wabanaki of W8linak provided assistance to Irish settlers established near Lake Saint Joseph upstream from Lysander Fall. So, as I mentioned earlier, those Irish settlers were having a hard time during winter. So the Abenaki that were there helped them to go through the winter, and gave them foods and everything that they could provide for to maintain them for a few winters, and help them. After that, uh, during that 1829, 1831, petitions were still filed for location at Athabasca County, which is today is Nicollet River. It's southwest of W8linak. Um, Reservation land were granted in Coleraine in 1853, 1882. But this reservation land is located at near St. Francis Lake, upstream south of W8linak, maybe 80, what is 70 miles or something like that. But at that time, they started to exploit uh, for mining, asbestos, and things like that. And they were also exploiting for log industries. So, and the land and the land was not that good for farming. So the Abenaki, few of them went there, but they stayed maybe a year or two, and everybody left the place because it was not suitable for them to make a living. 1907, expropriation of lots from the reserve for the Quebec, Montreal, and Southern Railways. You may have seen that there was a railways going through the reservation and a bridge. 1984, toponym W8linak, meaning at the bay, becomes the official name for the Wabanaki community located at the banks of W8linak. 2008, construction of the small Saint Teresa chapel. 2017, conversion of the small chapel into a protection center. And also federal government acknowledgement of wrongdoings related to the Coleraine Reserve, specific claims.
Hmm.
2022, opening of a Grand Royal W8linak Casino. And 2023, recognition by the government of Canada of shortcomings related to the St. Francis mission, which is related to the specific claim. That's I think that's about the historical part of W8linak. Uh, well, I should have mentioned it maybe at the beginning, but the Abenaki of W8linak originally are Wabanakiak who allied themselves with the French, and initially they were, yes, as I mentioned, they were asked to protect Trois-Rivières, and it's Father Sébastien Raoul who was the missionary, the same Sébastien Raoul who was at Naransouak, who got killed by the English that made a raid there at Naransouak because they want to punish the Abenaki. He was there at that time. So he was the missionary that brought the Abenaki at W8linak. People of W8linak, the first one, many of them came from Amasokanti, Naransouak, and also Wawinak, And later, beginning of the 19th century, some Wolastoqiyik from New Brunswick moved into the community. Wolastoqiyik are the Maliseet. And after that, also in the 19th century, 19th century, also Algonquin, Anishinaabe people, Algonquins, also established themselves in W8linak since there was an Algonquin reserve settlement in Trois-Rivières, in Tres Rivers. It's an idea of the population from 1745 to 1856. It's 50, 56 were recorded, 1755, 91 in 1825, 127 in 1835, 84, 1840, 84, 1845, 77 and 1856. Uh, can I have a glass of water?
Oh, please,
Just
yeah,
have
please take
if you allow me.
it.
I know it's a lot of information. Maybe I'm not the best presenter. So this is the families in census at the 1825 census made by Canada. I think it was one of the first they made. This source, this these information here are from Serge Gaudreau, who's a demograph who did study about the Abenaki of W8linak and about the Abenaki and the Algonquin of Trois-Rivières. So he has written here the name of the families that were there in 1825 was that were registered as Abenaki of Bécancour. You see the name of the family. That's nom de l'homme is the man name. Its origin, his wife name, and the origin. By meaning origin, which tribe were they? So you have Joseph Itafabwa. He's a great captain. He's Abenaki. His wife is also Abenaki. Joseph Metzalabanlet, who is one of my grand father. Is Abenaki. He's a small chief. His wife Marie Madeleine also Abenaki. Children, Marie, Xavier. You have Jean-Baptiste Matongam, who is Abenaki, his wife Abenaki, and you have here Joseph Marie Pacambest, who is considered as Malicite. At this time, his wife Judith Bernard, also considered as Malicite. You have Noël Saint-Aubin, who is considered as Malicite. His wife Marie-Joseph Rotono is also considered Algonquin. Pierre Metzola-Banlette is captain, is Abenaki, his wife also Abenaki, and his second wedding, Lucie Robichaud, is a French-Canadian wife here, who's a Canadian. Nicolas Lambermet, who is considered la Malicite, his wife, Thérèse Xavier Abenaki. So you go on like this, and you see there are Algonquin here, Ignace Ojibwe, uh, Algonquin, wife Abenaki, the wife Abenaki, and so on. So uh, there was a lot of people at the middle of the 19th century. Abenaki were moving either to Trois-Rivières, between Bécancour and Trois-Rivières. And there were few years they were in Trois-Rivières, few years they would be all around the place. And they also travel everywhere, not only to Trois-Rivières, but also to villages and places on the north shore of the St. Lawrence. We have to we have to understand that what was around W8linak, everything has become farmlands for a community that most of them were warriors, hunter, trapper, fishermen. You couldn't make a living anymore as a hunter or trapper or things like that. So you had to do something else, and so that's why they move on the north shore of the St. Lawrence River for many, many of them. And it went on until the beginning of the 20th century. And at the beginning of the 20th century, there was only five family houses in W8linak at that time. And there are many, how you say that, many notarized contracts that were made between the Abenaki uh, of W8linak and fur traders of Trois-Rivières. So being employed, being hired by this fur trader meant that you had a salary that maybe you couldn't have if you were just hunting or fishing for a living. You couldn't make it for have your family live on hunting, fishing, trapping. Many of them moved on the north shore of the St. Lawrence River. Some of them established themselves for a long time on the north of the St. Lawrence River, um, while others just move really northeast to what today is Mashtewiash. We call it Mashtewiash. The reservation that is on the shore of the St. John Lake, really far from here. Saguenay River, big Saguenay River. So you go up there. They were on the Saguenay River. So those families were the Neptune. You know the Neptune. You see, if you know with the Penobscot, there are Neptune, the Neptune names that you meet there. Uh, So here, when they came to W8linak, the name changed. I don't know why. Maybe it's always the priest who registered the baptism and everything. So they changed the name, upon what they were hearing. So the name changed from Neptune to Neptune, and now all the Neptune that are in Canada now, they are all considered as Innu. Well, that's the montagne used to be called the montagnais, but the Innu tribes, the Innu people. Among them also that moved there was the Gill family that are still in Odanak. You still find Gill family in Odanak. The Philip who came also, Philip family. Lonier, the Lonier family were considered Malicite, Wolastoqua. They were in Trois-Rivières. They were in Batiscan, which is a bit northeast of Trois-Rivières, northeast of W8linak, and they also moved to what is today Mashtewyash at this place. Um, the Philip, the Olonier, and some patronyms, some family just blended with the French Canadian. Some names that we don't see anymore in our net. There's many family names that we don't find anymore today. At this time, even at the in the 50s, I don't think they were there anymore. Uh,
Is it feel like a good stopping point for you? You want to take a break? You
yeah,
have some water.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing so much on that. I had a few questions and then I'll pass it over to Zach. Just a few things I was curious about. Um, you mentioned the few locations. Has there been much archaeology work done at Wolinak?
Yes, well, there's the Grand Council, Tribal Council, Grand Council, who does a lot of job, all the
Mm,
job for the archaeology works. There were at the time there were four archaeologists there
mm,
working at the Tribal Council. Now I think there are three. Yeah, three of them now are working for them. They did a lot of archaeologist research. They're still doing many of them, mostly in Oldeni because the fort was there and they find a lot of things in Oldeni. But since, let's say, for example, the first place where the Abenaki were located on Montesson Island, it was farmed since the beginning, since the middle of the 18th century. Farmed and farmed, everything was cut down, and then it was plowed and plowed and plowed. Uh, the house of the Lord was established there because when you were lord of a place, you had the obligation to build a church, to also build a windmill, a mill for the farmers to go there and have this. So they found the basement of what may have been the main house of this lord and what may have been also the windmill, but they didn't find anything related to Abenaki presence. We know it because we know it was there because it's written in the books and everything. And upstream, no, south of where we are located, so the same thing happened. Everything became farmlands, so it's difficult to find anything. And also on the L'Île Sauvage, this was also farmed by the French settlers, the neighbor. Uh, even was it well 15 years ago during summer the level of the river go very slow, and there's this farmer there that is a neighbor to us. He just let his cows cross the river, and they go on the on the island to
Mm.
eat. But it's not authorized, it's not permitted. So the chief at that time, he told him, he said, okay, if they come on the island, they're gonna be looked at as ours. So I'm gonna shoot them. We don't see any more moose, so we're gonna shoot them and eat them.
Wow.
So we stopped it. So these kinds of things happen.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. They're trying. They found a few things. What to on the big uncle side, because there were some kinds campsite where family would gather. They found many things upriver, upriver where there were camping site for families and things like that. But
Yeah.
not a big. Uh, Not as big as you find it in Odanak,
Yeah.
Odanak, they find so many things,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And then one other question, and then I'll pass over to Zach. But also for everybody, if you have any questions, feel free to post them there. Or after Zach's done, I'll also open up to just raising hands if anyone would like to ask questions. The one other thing I didn't hear that I just was curious about is the basket trade wasn't the same for W8linak as important it was for Odanak.
Well, in fact, the basketry is kind of uh, I don't I cannot say save the Odanak, but the
Yeah.
basketry helped Odanak to stay together.
Hmm.
Because first the territory was the reserve that was left was much bigger than than what has been left on Wolinang. There were many families still established there, so they could marry within Abenaki people. And there's also one thing. So the basketry made it possible for them to keep the language, to keep the song, to keep the dance, to keep the culture to all together. So having lost the territory for Woninat people, uh, you could not make a living, so you had to spread all over the place. So how can you make marriage within the Abenaki? It became difficult. So they started to marry with a French Canadian, and either men or women, and then many of the things that were that are cultural aspect are also related to the territory. Language, culture, everything is related to the territory. If you lose it, if you lose the territory, you're gonna lose things that you make for a living, and all these things, vocabulary is related to it, and you will lose it. Just for example, just one example is that when the Saint Paul Lake, where I showed you, where the Acadian established themselves, there was an Abenaki name for this, but today we don't remember. Nobody remembers what it was. So it's really bad. There are other places we know. There's this place to east of, close to Wolinak called Gentilly. We know it was called Namasek, where there are fish. But just beside us, within not within a half a mile, there's this big lake where we used to go hunt for ducks, geese, and things like that. And we don't know what the Abenaki name is still for this. We know the Abenaki name for Trois-Rivières, the Abenaki name for many places around, but we lose that. It's a it's um, it's really sad. It's a shame for this. So basketry is one of these things. The last, I think the last registered I showed, I've showed you the census. The last census 1911. There's one basket maker that is still registered. Her
Mhm.
name is Elizabeth Thomas. She's a widow. She's in her 80s. She's the last one that was making basketry for sale at this moment.
Mhm.
Though the report of the Indian agent for the Indian Affair mentions in his report, annual report, that people were making living out of basketry. Make some of them were living out basketry. I don't know if he was talking about her, but not much
Yeah, yeah.
that were left about it. So. Today some people are learning back, but they go we go to Odanak to learn it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Zach, can I turn it over to you? Introduce yourself and
Yeah,
go at it.
yeah, I'm Zachary Bennett. As Richard mentioned earlier, I'm assistant professor of history at Norwich University, and I'm originally from Maine, and it's really awesome making connections with Wabanaki people in Quebec because that's where I'm from. In southern Maine and eastern Maine, there's not a lot of indigenous people. You have to go to Penobscot, Passamaquoddy territory, but there were indigenous people where I'm from in a lot of places in New England, and they're still around, right? And it's great to make connections to that history. So the question I had for you was when we had a chance to meet, Yves and I had a chance to meet when he was at UVM a few months ago. And Yves, I remember you talked about how you had become very interested in genealogy and doing your family history. And I'm wondering, what was the impact of doing your family genealogy, and how did it impact your understanding of Wolinak and yourself?
Well, we since I was since I was young, we always knew that we were Abenaki. My father always made it clear since I was a kid, and we used every summer to spend our summer along the W8linak River. The uncle of my father, Antonio Mezzola Barlet, was still living on the reservation when he was young, and I think, and he died in Montreal, something like that. But until the 40s, or until the 40s, Antonio Mezzola Barlet was still there. Family was still there. 30, 40. My father was born in 1980, 19. Uh, the beginning of the 20th century in year 19. Yeah. So and so he had relatives there. He had friends there with the Saint Aubin family. They would come to Trois-Rivières. We know who we were since I was born. We know who we were. We had contact every time with the Saint Aubin family since I was born. So, but exactly, I know my grandmother, my grandfathers, and things like that on the Abenaki side. My mother is a French Canadian. But I know these people. But after that, who were they? I didn't know. So I started to went up. Now it's easier with the internet to find who your ancestor are, and it on who. What about who I am? Uh, I don't know if it had an impact or whatever. It had an impact lately because I found out that my some of my ancestors participated in 1812 war against the American, and one of them was decorated and things like that. Uh, yeah, but it's also my one of my goals is also to share it with other people. Many of our family members many of family members in my family, in Landry family, and some other, they don't know where they come from. So and there's a lot of people returning to, not necessarily on the reservation, but coming back, and gather and things like that, and to identify themselves as Abenaki, and they are also Abenaki, but they don't know where they are from. They've been colonized like I was. I went to school, Catholic school and everything. So I've heard it all, and it's also to give this person the right information, and also try to uh, to make the records the best as possible, and trying also to educate people that you're an Abenaki, you're not necessarily wearing a war feather
Bonnet.
bonnet and things like that. And there are other things, well, it's like this, TV, movies, everything has influenced a lot of people. And even within us, the Abenaki, many still are not really educated about it. So there's a lot of work to do. I wish I wish I would have done it earlier, but I was occupied to something else. But I'm trying to make uh, my part of the job.
Great. And so, yeah, speaking to a little bit of what you were doing before, you meant it was mentioned that you worked in the paper pulp industry.
Yeah.
And if anyone has never been to Trois-Rivières before, um, it's like the biggest paper mill town that I've ever seen. It's massive there. It's a very industrial his city, or at least historically. And I was wondering, what was the impact for W8linak being next to this very large industrial city in Trois-Rivières, and how did that impact the W8linak community economically, and also kind of probably interacting with that large industrial center?
Hmm. Yeah, well, some of them, well, at least the Landry family, our family, many of them worked in a pulp and paper company. My father worked there, my brother worked there, my uncles worked there. My grandfather, when he left W8linak at the beginning of the 20th century, it was not a pulp and paper company at that time. It was a logging company. After that, the pulp and paper company installed themselves on the same location on an island at the end of the St. Maurice River, and he was taking care of the horse. So he was hired when he was 30 something. So his first child were born in W8linak or Bécancour, and then my father was born in Trois-Rivières after he moved there. So yeah, it has an impact. Some other Landry family also went to Shawinigan, which is north. There was also some pulp and paper company there, logging, and they worked there. Pulp and paper company were also related. There was something like the same thing happened everywhere where there's pulp and paper company. They were cutting woods and they were floating woods on rivers. So two of my uncles worked on log drivers during summertime. They were living on the shore of the St. Maurice River. So yeah, that had a big impact. But many for those were still in Warning, like at the beginning of the 20th century, some of them were farmer and other, well, not farming that much, but they went to do job in Trois-Rivières or some places are trying to make their living around Trois-Rivières, among many jobs, yeah. And the last family, the Metzola Barlett family, they move, those who still have the Metzola Barlett name, they moved near Montreal, South Shore of Montreal. And there's still, most of them are still there right now. Yeah, it has an impact. So yeah.
So my next question is like for people who are interested in Wolinak and perhaps if they're driving through or in the area, what would be some things that you would recommend for people to visit? Are there special events that you folks have, or is there a particular time of year that's the best time to visit Wolinak? If people want to stop by and check it out, what would you recommend?
Well, every year at the end of August, we have an annual powwow that's been held since, yes, well, maybe it has been held for almost 20 years now. We have an annual powwow on the reservation since 5 years now, 4 5 years. Well, there's a big casino that has been established. It's owned half and half by Tribal Gaming, is a company from United States, and also by the Abenaki. And there's also the chapel that is an interpretation center. Uh, Other than this, it's really small, you know. So. Um, well, of course, the tribal council hires a lot of people over near 100 persons. Ben Council also hire almost 50 persons, something like that. There's two other. There's a big. There's also a business called General Fiberglass, who was the first business established in W8linak in 1990. It was established by late chef Raymond Bernard, who was chief for a while. And he passed away a few years ago, and now his son and his grandson are running the business. Um, yeah, we don't have, unfortunately, we don't have a nice museum like Odanak and this. But yeah, I think the power at the end of August is a good moment to come and to visit and meet people.
Great. So I have a question from Ann H. You mind if I ask that? Are there church records or other community records for Wolinak from 1760 and later, even though the earlier ones were lost when the church was burned?
As I mentioned, I'm not an historian and things like, but there are many records at the department, the Indian Affairs in Ottawa. Some of them are available online, but many of them are in the office there, and well, you have to go there and look for this. There are some also some there are some archives at the archive library of here in Trois-Rivières. There is also some. You can find things in by going to the Catholic Church, Catholic archives. Uh, you have to look a lot to find things, you know. But there are many things available online if you go through the archives of Canada archives. It's many things are online. You can find a lot.
Great. It's I was wondering, what is your relationship? You've mentioned your relations as part of the Wabanaki Confederacy. What's it like being one of the smaller members of the Wabanaki Confederacy? And what are the challenges facing your community in the 21st century?
Well, the membership went start was 57 at some point at the beginning of the 20th century. Now we have what we call a citizen code where the Abenaki decides for themselves who they are. We went up to I've got the numbers yesterday with something like near 900 now registered. But this is it includes status and non-status member. I mean status and then non-status. Uh, there are 250 person living on the reservation actually, including children and everything. So the the thing is the loss of the language, the loss of the culture in many ways, the loss of things. We have to get in contact with it. I've been in contact with it for more than 30 years because I had the opportunity to be electoral officer in Odanak for 25 years since 1990, and so I had this opportunity. But many of us, but it's starting, and we have people have to get to go back and learn things. It's the cultural reappropriation and also identity. Um, as I mentioned earlier, uh, being an Abenaki, yes, you have a status card, you have plastified card in your pocket, but it's not only this, you know. It has to be more. You have to know your history. You have to know where you come from. But well, that's my point of view. That's my standpoint. Only my point of view. Uh, I think that you must know where you come from. You must know where you come from if you want to know where you're going. Uh, and that's it. You know, there there has not been a continuous contact with the uh, Abenaki culture in W8linak as this has happened in Odanak. So this is what makes a few things difficult, and I think people maybe should be working on it for the future. But there is many interest into it. Uh, People who lives on the reservation, many they are. My sister is teaching songs and dance to a group of ladies every Monday evening. They are many cultural activities every Thursday. They meet and do handicraft, art craft, and things like that. We have the tribal council, everything. We organize, and I was a part of it. We organize cultural activity, traditional activities on the territory, and all these things. We always have people interested in participating. The most difficult thing is that one of the most difficult thing is the lack of territory. We don't have territory, so we must go on public land, which doesn't exist. 95% of traditional territory on the Canadian part is private. and we have to share with the other person. So we have to rely on the conservation organization that have lands, and they allow us to go on this land. Or we have to go to a provincial or national park and each time negotiate with them and things like that. But at least we have this part of the lands that we can where we can still practice some cultural traditional activities, and it's very 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 um, attended. A lot of people attend these activities.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Eve. I think yeah, we should probably wrap it up. There was one last question from David himself here. Though I want to almost end on the nice note of you were just saying, but um, where did it just go? Sorry, I lost it.
Uh,
Uh,
I can.
you mentioned the problem with pretendians at the start. How do you feel about settlers of European descent, including in Vermont, claiming to be Abenaki? Is this an issue Wolinak is having as well, like Odanak?
Oh, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
They are everywhere. They are everywhere, everywhere. We have them in Trois-Rivières. They are everywhere.
yeah,
I just mention one thing. I was at the power in W8linak 12, 10, 12, 15 years ago. I'm there and I'm looking at the power going on. And then I see this guy with a wonderful regalia, And I look at the guy and say, oh, I know this guy, I know this face. And go to him and I say, oh. And this was a guy I was going to school when I was a kid, primary school. We were neighbor. He was living 10 minutes from my home, and he's there dancing. And I said, "Oh, are you Abenaki?" "Oh, no, no, no. It's more complicated. I'm this and that." And so they're always the same reason. They come from 4 or 5 tribes. So and then I went to see my sister who was in charge of the power. I said, he is from, he is dancing there. He said, yeah, yeah. No, he's not. He's not. So, and I know because I know all of them. There was the alliance of Métis and non-status Indians here, and I know all of them around the place. But they are everywhere. They are everywhere. So the thing is, now being native, being Indians, it has become popular even here, and the schools, school companies, they're making events. They want to have somebody to represent the Abenaki Nation, W8linak, and things like that. So we are few of us, and some of us are not uh, really ready to go and speak and things like that. So they ask to these guys, these person, many they have nice regalia and everything. I don't have one, so so they take our place, like Jacques always mentioned. They take our place to erase us, and that's it. And if you look at me, I don't look like what everybody represent as an Indian. It's sure. But at the same time, when you see these guys who has nothing to do with Abenaki, dancing at our powers, wearing regalias that are from the West, from the Sioux and things like that. That's what I was saying. Come on, guys, let's go and educate and trying to make the difference and understanding who we are.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I got.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no. So, so thank you so much for coming and speaking to us tonight. I really hope you'd be up for coming back and doing a part two, because I know there's a lot more slides to see, and I'd love to hear more about
Well, I
your
talked about
life.
it a
And
bit. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll see.
Yeah,
Um, but thank you, and thank you from everyone. I
you're
invite
welcome.
now if anyone would like to raise their hand who is a family member or from Odanak or allies or anything, just to say a thank you and hello, please feel free. All right. I don't see any, but feel free, anyone, to stick around if you're friends or family afterwards and say hello. But I will call that a wrap. Thank you so much. Oh, I see a lot of, sorry, there are a lot of thank yous coming in the chat there, just so
Yeah,
you
I
know.
see my son
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
D'accord.
I think Richard, people also are on like mute. I don't think they're able
Oh,
to
that's right.
unmute.
You can't. I think the hand raise is still an option though, right? Or is it? Well, anyway. Okay, so that wraps it up. But if I'll just unmute everyone here if you
I'm
feel
sorry,
like
I'm not.
saying anything.
As you've seen, I'm not a professional for presentation. It's a lot of stuff, but I hope I made
Oh no, it was
a
great.
portrait of the what who we are.
I know a lot more than for sure than before. Let's see.
One note, Richard, too, you might want to pause the recording now.
Oh yeah, yeah.